Hello friends, and welcome back to the Garden Next Door. If seed catalogs have started filing into your mailbox, or you're looking at websites and you're feeling excited but a bit overwhelmed, fear not, because today I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what I order for my Zone 7 garden. We're going to talk about family favorites, reliable crops, and plants that actually make sense for real life. So grab a notebook, grab something tasty to drink, and we're going to get to it. Before I even share the seeds that I'm going to be specifically adding to my cart to purchase, let's talk about how I get to the list of what I'm even going to be adding. And first, it's actually knowing what my family eats during the year. And this can be just a mental list of the types of food that your family like to eat and enjoy. I know berries for us are super big, so adding things like blueberry bushes, raspberry bushes has been really important to us in the past, and now we're still getting the benefits of that because they are perennials and they come back year over year. But some seeds that might be helpful are things like tomatoes, if your family actually eats them. But if they aren't eating cherry tomatoes or slicing tomatoes, then why are you even planning to grow them? Another thing that I like to add are things that are going to be really great for my zone. So you can do a quick search on your zone, just type in your zip code into Google, and I'm sure some AI bot will tell you exactly which zone you're in. And then you can find a list of things that actually are going to grow well in your area. Bananas are not necessarily the best item for my zone, so I might want to steer clear of doing that unless I have a way of keeping them warm throughout the colder seasons. And then another thing that I like to think about is growing things that are actually worth the effort and time. If it's a simple crop to grow, like tomatoes, zucchini, then I'm definitely going to add it to my list. Some more complex items like Brussels sprouts, I've never had success with in the past, so I've just kind of deleted it from my list of things, and I just know that that's something that I'm going to be purchasing at the store because the effort and time that I need to put into it hasn't really reached the benefits that I've been hoping for. And lastly, something to think about is the actual varieties. Now, varieties can seem like an open-ended magical quest when you're gardening, but sometimes they can make it more complex than it should be. Varieties for me just add more complexities, and I like to stick with what I know. So I choose one or two varieties that are really good for my zone, for my area that we enjoy eating, and I stick with that. I don't add a lot of different varieties because it's just gonna make it more complex, more harder, and I'm a mom of two kids. I have a busy life. I'm not trying to add more stress and more complexities to gardening, which can already be a pretty big use of time, effort, and mental capacity. Okay, let's talk about the actual seeds, and we're going to start with vegetables first. The first one is going to be tomatoes. So I like to have two different types of tomatoes. I'll do a big, juicy slicing tomato that I can add to sandwiches, something that I can also make into a tomato sauce. Now, Roma tomatoes are oftentimes the best for a tomato sauce, but I found that you can really use a lot of the larger tomatoes as well, and my family hasn't been too picky about it, so I like to stick with just one large variety that I can do a few different things with. And then next, I do a nice cherry tomato. Now, once you actually get tomatoes in your garden, I actually think they're kind of like a weed. They're hard to get away, so choose a cherry tomato that you really like because most often some of them are going to fall, you're going to get seeds, and they're going to be there every single year. So choose something that you think is going to be tasty, and you can always add different varieties into this. So if you want to do a yellow tomato in the future, you can always go ahead and add those in the future, but start with one or two that have different purposes. So you have your little snacking one, and then one that you can do in a lot of different varieties. Next up is zucchini. We absolutely love zucchini here. You can do a zucchini and a summer squash. I found that we're just not into summer squash as a family, so I always stick with a nice green normal zucchini. They're incredibly easy to grow. You can have one or two plants and it can provide enough zucchinis for the entire family. We oftentimes have a lot more because our garden is larger, and we've been really able to reap the benefits of this. I have blanched them and froze them for the whole winter that we can utilize. You can make zoodles out of them. You can slice them up. I use them in a lot of different recipes. I'll use them as a hidden veggie in some recipes as well, so my kids don't even notice that they're eating zucchini. And we also share them with neighbors and friends. So I don't think you can have too much zucchini, so I add a lot of them. And I found that just some of the generic zucchini brands have worked really well for our garden and our family, so I don't go too crazy there, but something you can think about if you have a niche desire for zucchini or summer squash in your house. Next up is beans. Beans are an amazing food group that you can be growing. I think they're really easy to grow, and we've reaped the benefits of these time and time again. Again, they're a really great crop that you can be freezing or storing in jars and utilizing all winter long, which is really, really great here. They provide a lot of nutrients, they're fun, they're tasty, and depending on which varieties you grow, some of them you can eat right off of the stalk. We grew a few different varieties this year, and I still just go back to the tried and true basic varieties that we have. I am going to link down all of the exact seed packs that I am purchasing down below in the caption, so you can get all of the links specifically there. Some of these are just bags that I have just for show, so keep that in mind. Beans are also really great because they're going to be an early crop that you can get into. So oftentimes you're getting a lot of luck early in the year, and it's because it's just an easier crop to grow. And then you can also do different ones as well if you are a big legume friendly family. These are really ones that you can kind of branch off, do a lot of different varieties if you have different needs that you like to add year over year. The next item that we love to add is our leafy greens. We're a big salad family, and you can get these started. They grow relatively fast. You can eat them as microgreens, even really, really small, all the way up to their full state, and you can continue to grow them until it gets really, really hot, and then you can grow them again in the fall time as well. So we actually do a bigger variety here because we just love greens in our house. We do spinach, always a winner here. This one you definitely want to get in early because when it gets really hot, it will bolt and it just isn't very great. We do some types of lettuces that we can cut and get those going. And then kale is also a really big one that we do here. I have grounded down my kale and made it into a powder so that I can add it to smoothies all winter long, which is something you can also do really, really great. So definitely love these. And then not shown, I love to add potatoes and sweet potatoes. So some of our root vegetables as well as carrots are pretty big in our house. Carrots I do start by seed, and I will just overseed the area. You just want to make sure that wherever you're growing them has a nice loomy soil, or else if you're getting it stuck on rocks or twigs or logs, if you're doing hugelkultur gardening, then it will just get really crooked carrots as you go in. But I think even if you get funny looking carrots, they're just so fun for the whole entire family to pick and eat. And we do give them to our chickens, our rabbits when we have those, as well as our dogs. So really, really good one and a fun one to grow. And then root vegetables, potatoes and sweet potatoes are always going to be a really high producer, really easy grower. And I highly suggest if you like potatoes and sweet potatoes that you do grow them, and you do want to start with more of a potato seed. So you might want to get those a little bit closer to growing season, or just make sure that you're timing it or you're sticking it into a place that it's going to be well kept until you can actually get it into the ground. Now let's talk about herbs. There are really two families of herbs. So you can have a perennial herb, something like lemon balm and mint, which are going to come back every single year. And I suggest if you haven't grown these before, definitely taking advantage of them, because you can put them in a nice pot in a section of your garden and they will come back every year, but they can be a little invasive, especially mint, so be very careful where you are putting them and that they don't trail down or get anywhere, because they will be everywhere if you don't watch them. And then you have things like your annuals, and these are what you're going to be planting every single year. And things that I love to plant every year, basil is my number one. It is so versatile in the kitchen. We use it in sauces, on the top of our pizzas, just to top off and add to a lot of different recipes. And it's so easy to grow. You can easily grow this as a beginner from seed, and as you pick it, it continues to grow. So I highly, highly suggest basil if you enjoy that flavor in your cooking. The next two that I use very often in my cooking are parsley and cilantro. These are really great for beginners. They start off very early in the season, so you're gonna have a nice win early on and you'll continue to be able to have them. They smell delicious, and what's really nice about all of these herbs is when you are growing them, you can always take them, freeze them up, so you can cut them down, put them in some oil, put them in an ice cube tray, freeze them, and then have fresh herbs all winter long. Really, really easy, and it's gonna take your wallet very far, because when you're buying fresh herbs from the grocery store, they can be really, really pricey. So this is a way that you can, for a couple dollars, get some seeds and bring them across the entire year. And lastly, I love growing chives. Chives are an amazing addition to a lot of different recipes, and they usually come back every single year. So again, you're getting a nice perennial that you can add to the garden. It has a lot of flavor, a lot of punch. You can again freeze it, and you can get it every single year again and again. Herbs are an amazing way that you can be getting a high return on the money invested. Even just a small pot, you can grow a large variety of herbs. They continue to grow as you pick them, and you can freeze them. And they're going to save you a lot more money than buying them fresh from the grocery store. They make a huge impact in the kitchen. One thing that I've always included in my garden are flowers. Not only are they beautiful, but they're going to impact the entire ecosystem of the garden, because they're going to be a nice pollinator that you can bring into your garden and get into the space and then spread throughout your garden and really help the whole entire health of your garden. There are things like marigolds, which are also going to deter animals, so they'll keep out some of the pests. Things like deer will even be not so keen on coming into your garden when there's marigolds. So each one can have its own advantage, as well as just look beautiful, add a punch of color, and something you can bring into your kitchen and cut. Zinnias are also a really amazing flower. We love to grow them. They're super easy to grow. There's so many different varieties. So definitely pick a color or a look that you really like, add it to your garden. You can save the seeds, which I have a video down on below once you actually get ready for that stage, and you can continue to grow zinnias year over year, and they're just beautiful. Next up is what seeds I'm skipping in the garden. Now, it doesn't mean failure if you can't successfully grow something or your family doesn't eat what you grow. It means that you can take this and you can learn from it and refine for the future. There are definitely foods that I've grown in the garden, or at least tried to, like Brussels sprouts, and have never been successful. I've just never seen a Brussels sprout actually come out of my garden from seed. There are some things like, I found a lot of success with broccoli and cauliflower if I actually buy the plant from the store and I don't start with seed. These are things that are just gonna get my edge into the garden and things that I've learned as I've gardened. If you wanna learn more about things that I'm not buying, then comment down below and I can definitely do a video of this. And subscribe if you aren't already a part of the journey, because I love to have new followers along in my journey. But all of this is really important as you begin to garden. Whether you're a beginner or you're a veteran, it's really important that you start simple with your seeds. Take an inventory of what you actually eat or desire to eat. Maybe during the winter time, try a beet if you've never eaten one, and then you'll know if you actually want to grow them in your garden. Now, they're probably going to be a lot better in your garden than the grocery store, so take that into account. But think about what you're actually eating versus not. Think about what's actually on the table. How often are you eating zucchini? Does it make sense to have 3 plants, or does it make sense just to have 1? Or just buy a single zucchini all summer because you never eat them. Things to think about and learn, and that's how you can decide what to actually grow in your garden. Now, if you want to know the exact seeds that I'm purchasing, I've included down a blog post below of all of the links to everything that I'm getting, as well as some of my favorite gardening supplies. So definitely check that out, and I'll see you guys again next time.